Would you dare to explore the unknown, even if it meant facing your greatest fears? How far would you go to uncover a mystery that no one has solved for centuries? Let's find out. Cave of Blue Mountain Part 1. In the quiet village of Rivertown, nestled at the foot of Blue Mountain, life moved at a gentle pace. The villagers were simple folk, living off the land, farming, and raising their families. They were a close-knit community, bound together by generations of tradition and stories passed down over the years. The children of Rivertown spent their days playing by the river, helping their families, and listening to the elders tell tales of the past. Among the children of the village, Ethan was known for his curiosity and sense of adventure. He was a young boy with bright eyes, always eager to explore new places and uncover the unknown. His best friend Lily was just as adventurous, though she had a more cautious nature. Together they formed a duo that was always looking for the next mystery to solve or the next hill to climb. Blue Mountain loomed large over the village, casting a long shadow at sunrise and sunset. The mountain had always been a source of wonder and fear for the villagers. There were many stories about it. Some said it was cursed, others believed it was home to ancient spirits. Most people in Rivertown avoided going too far into the mountain's forest, believing that it was dangerous. But for Ethan and Lily, the mountain was a source of endless fascination. "One day we should climb it," Ethan would often say, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "One day," Lily would reply, though she wasn't sure if they would ever be brave enough to do it. The village elders had always warned the children about the mountain. "It's not safe," they would say. "People who venture too far never return." But these warnings only made Ethan and Lily more curious. What could be so dangerous about the mountain? And what secrets did it hold? One warm summer afternoon, Ethan and Lily set out to explore the woods near the base of Blue Mountain. It was a part of the forest they had never fully explored before, dense with trees and thick bushes. As they wandered deeper, they stumbled upon a small hidden cave, half covered by ivy and moss. The entrance was narrow, but just wide enough for them to squeeze through. Inside the cave, the air was cool and damp. Their footsteps echoed softly as they ventured further in. The walls of the cave were lined with strange markings, faintly glowing in the dim light. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. "Look at this," Ethan called out, pointing to a set of symbols carved into the stone wall. The markings were ancient, worn down by time, but still clear enough to make out. Among the symbols, there was a pattern that looked like a map. "Do you think it's real?" Lily asked, her voice filled with awe. "I don't know," Ethan replied, running his fingers over the carvings. "But it looks like it leads somewhere, maybe to the top of the mountain." Lily hesitated. "But the elders always say not to go up there. What if the stories are true?" Ethan smiled, the excitement in his eyes growing. "What if they're wrong? What if there's something amazing up there? Something no one's ever seen before?" The idea of discovering something hidden, something that had been lost to time, filled both of them with a sense of adventure. The markings on the cave walls seemed to call to them, pulling them deeper into the mystery. Neither of them knew what they would find, but they both knew one thing for sure. They had to follow the map. The sun was starting to set as they left the cave, the sky turning shades of pink and orange. With the map fresh in their minds, they walked back to the village in silence, both lost in thought. Tomorrow they would return to the cave, better prepared for whatever awaited them on Blue Mountain. The village elders may have warned them to stay away, but Ethan and Lily were determined to uncover the mountain's secret. And so their greatest adventure was about to begin. As the sun rose over Rivertown, Ethan and Lily's excitement was palpable. They had spent the entire evening discussing their discovery and planning their adventure. Both of them had a mix of nerves and anticipation as they gathered supplies for their journey up Blue Mountain. In Ethan's small, tidy house, he rummaged through his drawers, looking for useful items. He packed a sturdy backpack with essentials, a map of the area, a compass, a flashlight, a first aid kit, and some dried food. His father's old hiking boots, worn but reliable, were laced up and ready for the trek. Ethan knew the journey would be tough, and he wanted to be as prepared as possible. Across the village, Lily was busy in her own home. Her mother helped her pack a similar set of supplies, including a water bottle, a blanket, and a small knife. Lily's mother reminded her of the importance of being cautious and prepared, but she could see the excitement in Lily's eyes and knew she wouldn't be dissuaded. "Just remember to stay together and keep your wits about you," she said, handing Lily a small map of the village with emergency contacts noted. As the morning sun cast a golden glow over the village, Ethan and Lily met by the river, where they said their goodbyes to their families. Their parents were apprehensive but supportive, understanding that their children's curiosity was a strong driving force. The children reassured them that they would be careful and come back with stories to tell. With their backpacks securely fastened, Ethan and Lily set off towards Blue Mountain. They walked briskly, their hearts racing, with anticipation. Along the way, they discussed their strategy for the climb. They planned to follow the map's trail, making sure to keep track of their progress and take breaks when needed. They reached the edge of the forest by midday, where the trees grew denser and the path less clear. Ethan checked the map again, comparing it to the forest terrain. The path seemed to wind and twist, and they had to be cautious about not losing their way. Lily took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Are you ready for this?" she asked, glancing at Ethan. "Absolutely," Ethan replied with a grin. "This is going to be amazing." As they entered the forest, the canopy above grew thicker, dimming the sunlight. The air was filled with the sounds of birds and rustling leaves. The adventure had begun, and despite the uncertainty of what lay ahead, Ethan and Lily were ready to face whatever challenges came their way. As Ethan and Lily stepped into the forest, the vibrant light of the morning sun was quickly absorbed by the dense canopy above. The forest was a world unto itself, filled with towering trees whose branches intertwined to create a natural roof. The air was cool and earthy, scented with the freshness of pine and the dampness of the forest floor. Ethan led the way, his compass and map in hand. The map showed a winding path through the forest, but the terrain was anything but straightforward. The forest floor was uneven, covered with roots, rocks, and fallen leaves that crunched underfoot. Ethan glanced frequently at the map, making sure they were heading in the right direction. Lily followed closely behind, her eyes wide with both awe and curiosity. "Look at this place," Lily said, her voice filled with wonder. "It's like stepping into another world." Ethan nodded, smiling. "I know, it's amazing. Just remember to stay alert. The map says we need to be careful of hidden obstacles." They moved cautiously, navigating around large roots and ducking under low-hanging branches. The deeper they went, the darker it became. The trees grew closer together, their shadows creating a twilight even in the middle of the day. Occasionally, they would stop to catch their breath and take in the surroundings. After an hour of walking, they reached a small clearing. The sunlight streamed down through a break in the trees, illuminating a patch of wildflowers. Ethan checked the map and saw that they were on the right track, but still had a long way to go. He also noticed a stream running through the clearing, its water crystal clear and flowing gently. "Let's take a break here," Ethan suggested. "We can refill our water bottles and have a quick snack." Lily agreed, and they sat on a large, flat rock near the stream. They pulled out their food and ate quietly, enjoying the peacefulness of the clearing. The sound of the flowing water was soothing, and for a moment, they could almost forget the challenges ahead. As they finished their snack and prepared to continue, Lily noticed something unusual in the underbrush. "What's that?" she asked, pointing to a small, glinting object partially buried in the dirt. Ethan walked over and carefully dug it out. It was an old, rusty key. "I wonder what this could be for," he mused, examining the key. "It could be a clue," Lily suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Maybe it's connected to the treasure." Ethan nodded, intrigued. He decided to keep the key, thinking it might be important later. They resumed their journey, leaving the clearing behind. The forest grew even more dense and the path became steeper. The trees seemed to press in around them, their branches forming a nearly impenetrable wall. The sounds of the forest grew louder, chirping birds, rustling leaves, and the occasional distant call of an animal. Suddenly, Ethan stopped. "Do you hear that?" he asked. Lily listened carefully. In the distance, there was a faint, rhythmic thumping sound, almost like a heartbeat. "Yes, I hear it. What do you think it is?" "I'm not sure," Ethan replied, "but let's be cautious. We don't know what might be out here." They continued, moving more carefully now. The thumping sound grew louder as they approached a large, gnarled tree with twisted roots. The sound seemed to come from beneath the tree. Ethan and Lily exchanged nervous glances. "We should check it out," Ethan said, his voice steady despite his apprehension. They knelt beside the tree and began to dig around the roots. After a few moments, they uncovered a small wooden box, weathered and covered in dirt. The rhythmic thumping had stopped, leaving only the sound of their own breathing. Lily's hands trembled slightly as she opened the box. Inside was a collection of old, dusty trinkets, coins, a broken compass, and a few scraps of paper with faded writing. It wasn't the treasure they had hoped for, but it was a piece of history. "This must be from someone who came before us," Lily said, examining the items. "Maybe they were searching for the same thing." Ethan nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "We should keep these as clues. They might help us understand more about what we're looking for." They carefully repacked the box and continued their journey, their spirits lifted by the discovery. The forest seemed a little less daunting now, and they were more determined than ever to uncover the secrets of Blue Mountain. As they pressed on, the forest became even more mysterious. Strange markings appeared on some of the trees, symbols that matched the ones on the map. The path was becoming more difficult to follow, but Ethan and Lily were undeterred. They knew that the deeper they went, the closer they were to the heart of the mountain's mystery. With every step, their excitement grew. They were on the brink of discovering something incredible, and nothing was going to stop them. The sun was beginning to dip lower in the sky as Ethan and Lily emerged from the forest onto the banks of a wide, rushing river. The river was a powerful, gurgling force, its water foaming over, smooth stones and weaving around the roots of trees that stretched into the water. The current was strong, and the sheer size of the river was intimidating. Ethan unfolded the map, his brow furrowing as he studied it closely. The map indicated that they needed to cross the river to continue their journey, but there was no sign of a bridge or any easy way across. The only options seemed to be either to find a way to cross or to risk the journey by the riverbank in hopes of finding a safer crossing point further downstream. Lily looked at the river with apprehension. "I didn't expect this. It's much wider and faster than I thought." Ethan nodded. "We'll need to find a way across. Maybe there's a shallow part or a place where the current isn't so strong." They began to walk along the riverbank, searching for a suitable crossing point. The ground was uneven and treacherous, with patches of mud and slippery stones. Ethan slipped once or twice, but managed to regain his balance, while Lily carefully placed each step to avoid falling. After some time, they came across a large fallen tree that spanned part of the river. The trunk was sturdy but covered in moss, and it bobbed slightly in the water. The tree seemed like a potential crossing point, but it also posed a risk. One misstep could lead to a fall into the icy, fast-moving current. Ethan approached the tree and tested its stability. "It looks solid, but we'll need to be careful. Let's go across one at a time and hold onto each other for balance." Lily agreed, and Ethan went first. He carefully stepped onto the tree, keeping his balance with arms outstretched. The bark was rough under his hands, and he moved slowly, placing each foot cautiously. The sound of the rushing water below was constant and loud, adding to the tension. Halfway across, Ethan's foot slipped on a particularly wet spot of the trunk. His heart raced, but he managed to steady himself, using his arms to regain his balance. Lily watched anxiously from the far side, ready to help if needed. "Are you okay?" Lily called out, her voice carrying over the roar of the river. "I'm fine," Ethan shouted back. "Just a bit slippery." With renewed focus, Ethan carefully made it to the far side and turned to watch Lily begin her crossing. Lily took her time, moving slowly and deliberately. She carefully placed each foot on the tree, using her arms for balance. Every now and then she glanced at Ethan for reassurance. As she reached the halfway point, the trunk began to wobble slightly. Lily's heart pounded in her chest as she struggled to maintain her balance. Ethan stretched out his hand, ready to assist her if she faltered. "You've got this," Ethan encouraged. With a final determined step, Lily made it across. She exhaled, deeply relieved to be on solid ground again. The two of them embraced briefly, their faces reflecting both the relief of the successful crossing and the exhaustion from the day's challenges. "Great job," Ethan said, smiling. "That was a close call." Lily smiled back, though her face was still pale from the ordeal. "Thanks. I was really nervous, but we made it." They took a moment to catch their breath and regroup. Ethan checked the map once more, ensuring they were still on course. The path on the other side of the river was a continuation of the trail marked on the map, leading further into the forest and up towards the mountain. With the river crossing behind them, Ethan and Lily continued their journey, their spirits lifted by their success. The challenges they had faced only strengthened their resolve, and they were more determined than ever to uncover the mysteries that lay ahead. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows through the trees, they pressed on, eager to see what new adventures awaited them. As Ethan and Lily pressed deeper into the forest, the atmosphere changed drastically. The canopy of trees above grew even denser, casting deep shadows that made it seem as though twilight had descended prematurely. The path became narrower and more overgrown, and the air grew cooler and heavier with each step. The trees seemed to close in around them, their gnarled branches twisting into shapes that looked almost like grasping hands. Strange, unfamiliar sounds echoed through the forest. Low whispers, rustling that seemed too deliberate to be the wind, and the occasional snap of a twig underfoot. The eeriness of the surroundings heightened their senses, making every shadow and sound seem more sinister. Ethan and Lily walked in silence, their earlier excitement tempered by the growing unease. Every now and then, Ethan would glance at the map, trying to match their current surroundings with the markings. The map indicated that they were still on the right path, but it offered little comfort in the face of the forest growing menace. The forest floor was thick with underbrush, and the trees were so close together that their branches intertwined overhead, blocking out most of the remaining sunlight. Ethan led the way, using a small pocket knife to clear a path through the tangled vines and branches. Suddenly, Lily noticed something odd. "Ethan, look at that. Part 1 ends here." What could be the things that Lily noticed? Is there any chance they might be separated on their journey? To find out, click the video here or follow the link in the description.